Now, I came up with a little system. Again, it's my own system, therefore it is subjective. And here's how it works. Let's say 0 is no disease and 100 is death. I have found that most illnesses really only manifest major symptoms at around 40 to 50 on that scale. Now, once you get the symptom, like you got the arthritis, or you've got the high blood pressure, you've got, a tumor, you're at 40 to 50. And it requires an energy to continue the disease process going. It fuels on something. It fuels on imbalance or infection and inflammation and dysregulation, metabolic dysfunction, all the different things, bioxidative dysfunction, free radical pathology. All these conditions cause the disease process. Now, if you do not pay it attention, if you don't say, okay, I've got a disease process going on here, what do I do about it? It just keeps gradually going up. And then when you start getting up in the 70s and 80s, then you're really getting disabled. Now it's changed the quality of life, where every day when you wake up, you really know that the disease is there. And it takes on a fear. The fear that you're going to be disabled or the fear you're going to die. I mean, if you're a man and you've got an enlarged prostate and your doctor says, hey, we got to go in there and take it out, which could cause impotency, or we got to put a radiation pellets in there, and that can cause impotency, and also it causes, low-level radiation poisoning, which can cause other conditions. You're not going to be thinking, oh, what a great day it is. I feel good today. Even though I might be dying, I feel good today. Your whole mind's going to be focused on this prostate gland. And if a woman's got breast cancer, you think she's not going to think about it? Of course she's going to think about it. But when you think about something, you give it energy. You give it power. Whatever you think about, you give power. Now the question is, what kind of thought have you given the condition? Have you given it fear? That will enhance the disease process because it creates stress hormones, and the stress hormones speed up the disease process. Or have you given it optimism? This is a gift. My disease is a gift. And through this gift, I will grow. I will learn that I allowed a conflict to occur. I created a conflict. I made inappropriate choices, and my gift is this disease. So I'm not going to be angry at myself. I'm going to forgive myself. And I'm not going to be all upset because I've been upset. And by being upset, either internalizing it or externalizing it or sublimating it, I've not paid attention to my own health, and this is the outcome. Not for all conditions, of course, but for a lot. So now I'm going to pay attention, but I'm going to give not the disease the attention, but my life the attention. So I'm going to give no conflict any power. When I don't feed a conflict, it doesn't have the power to continue. Instead, I'm going to give my energy into wellness. Each day, my life will be what I give my attention to. I'm going to look for the most positive, life-affirming, self-actualizing way of dealing with everything. So at the end of this day, I will have done nothing to allow this breast cancer, prostate cancer, to grow. Now, people can be cynical and say, well, that doesn't matter, but I can show you thousands of articles in the scientific literature from psychoneuroimmunology and other areas showing that every thought you have immediately corresponds to how your body chemistry is affected. Negative thoughts, fearful thoughts, angry thoughts, negative. Positive thoughts, optimistic thoughts, joyful thoughts, spiritual thoughts, positive. So now here we are. We're thinking, and that thinking allows our system to go down or to go up on the disease side. Now, once you start getting up around 90, you're at the end stage of a disease process. You're really sick. And 100's death. Now, on the other side, 0 is no health, and 100 is total health. And through my travels throughout the world, I want to see what allows an individual to be healthy, not only in our culture, but other cultures. And I found that there are beneficial understandings from every culture. For example, in many cultures, just being able to sit with your family for a period of each day is very healing. To take the issues that you want to share and the joy of being with people you care about, that's very rewarding. But how often in our society today do we sit down as a family for quality, undistracted time? I mean, be honest. Does it happen very often? No, it doesn't. More often than not, everyone in the family's got something else they're doing. You'd like to do it, but the reality is you don't, and not consistently. You can't tell me when the last time you had dinner with your family, quiet, uninterrupted, joyful, 7 days a week. Right? You're thinking 7 days a week, Gary. Try once a month. Got to make a reservation with your family. And that's all right, as long as we understand there's a consequence to it. And I found that when people have quiet time, now in other societies, they really do enjoy that peace of mind that comes from doing nothing, working in a garden. When I was in England, I went around the English countryside. Now, the English are not wealthy people. A middle-class, American middle-class English person, the American has more than the English materialistically. But I saw some things they did that we could learn something from. And again, it's not to accept the whole thing, but look at parts. And I saw that people love gardening there. And they have some wonderful gardens. I mean, average people in a backyard have gardens that just are magnificent because they give it energy. They love it, they tend to it, and you talk with them, and I did. And they would talk about how it took 10 years to grow this one, area up, so it has a certain look to it, a Shakespearean garden. And we're talking about people in the daytime might work, as a railroad conductor or work in a supermarket, but this is one of the things they do to rebalance their life. They're seeking positive things to rebalance. They like the quiet, they like nature, they like the time alone where they can relax, where they don't have to do anything or prove anything to anyone, just themselves. Well, I got to ask you, how many of you each day find quality time and make quality time to spend just with yourself? No phones, no responsibilities, no beepers, just you alone with yourself. Doesn't happen very often, does it? No. Maybe on a weekend sometimes, but then you got television and phones and responsibilities and so many things to do, you're just not on that to-do list. So think about those cultures that they do put themselves up there. In Italy, a lot of people spend time making wine, tending to their grapes and their gardens and their herbs. And food is a very big part of their culture. And I was amazed at how lacking in obesity they were for as much food as they focus on. You think they'd be obese, they're not. Very healthy by and large, and living longer lives. More importantly, there seems to be a joy in many of them that we don't often see here. And then I look at the urban environment in almost every city: London, Paris, Rome, Frankfurt, Toronto, and then New York, LA, around our country. Almost all the same. Too few hours to do too many things, too many goals with too much pressure, too many responsibilities, and too little time for self. And I don't care where you're at in the world, it's all the same. Then you go into the countryside, and if you were to go upstate, and we're in New York State now, if you were to go upstate around Kingston and that area, New Paltz, and you'd find small farms and people relaxing. People today will be tending their gardens, sitting on the swings, petting their animals, watching the bees and butterflies. They're trapping a moment. They're saying, what in this moment is important? And the butterfly is important, just like a kid. They'll watch it, and they'll find joy in it. And knowing that a tree is going to give them some plums or some apples, they just keep watching the process, and they have the patience to wait until it's right, and then they'll go out and they'll pick. And imagine the joy of just picking an apple. And we never think of that because we just go and there's 300 apples, right? And 15 varieties. We put them on our case and go home and eat them. But would it make a difference if we